Hello and welcome to today's video. Today we are going to be talking about the Lottie London Blush Crush. I received this in my November Ipsy subscription. Now, before you think blush reviews not that interesting, I getcha. I'm going to be talking a fair bit about Lottie London because I found out some interesting and confusing things about them, and that's why I decided to do this review. So I'm definitely going to be telling you about the blush, how it performs. I'm also going to be talking about the company, and I'm going to put timestamps for everything down below so that you can watch whatever part of the video you would like. I'm going to start out by talking about Lottie London, and I'm going to tell you this is going to be a little bit longer because we're also going to get into a discussion of original makeup versus dupe makeup versus fake makeup. So let's get started. Lottie London is a company that started in London. It was founded in 2014 and originally came out with a line of brushes. Very multicolored brushes, really pretty looking brushes. And they sort of have this aesthetic of wanting to be featured in social media. So all of their products are really pretty looking or attention grabbing, or have that thing where you can really picture an influencer sort of taking a picture of it and putting it on their Instagram. So after coming out with these brushes, they then came out with other cosmetics tools and then came out with nail polishes. But since then, they have also gotten into makeup, like the blushes, like eyeshadows, eyeliners. They do have a foundation. It's not a huge line of makeup, but there is almost a full line of makeup. To start out with, they were only sold in the UK in Superdrug, which I guess is one of their chains there. And those brushes that they were selling did well. One of the pieces that I saw here, and this came from a 2016 article, I believe, was that they have sold more than 500,000 of their brushes, and that was a couple of years ago, so it's probably gone up since. And their most popular brush has been one called Contour Queen. Now in 2017, I believe it was, they came to the US. They are sold there, I understand, through Ulta and also in certain select Forever 21 stores. So if you live in the US, you do have access to Lottie London as a brand. For us here in Canada, it does not appear that we do, although I know a number of my Canadian friends have found ways to buy things from the US even though they aren't available to us in Canada, and have little tricks to get around sending those to us. So when you look at the aim of this brand, it is very much geared towards like teens to mid-20s. I find there are two things going on with this brand. There's that really social media side of it where they partner with influencers. They right now have a lineup that's in partnership with a Instagram personality influencer. They have sort of like hashtags in front of things they do. They just make it very accessible to YouTubers, Instagrammers, Tumblr. Is that a thing that people use for makeup? Even the font of Lottie London kind of looks like something that you would see on like an inspirational quote on like Tumblr or Instagram. Also, as far as that aiming towards a younger crowd, you'll see as we get into some more talking about the blush, some of the lines, like the blush line, are named after, certain personalities that would appeal to younger to mid-20s age range. As far as the price range of this, it is low cost. Everything is inexpensive. It's all drugstore priced. When they came into the US, I don't know if the prices have gone up a little bit since, but everything was $15 US or less for everything in the line. So here's where we're going to talk about one of the things that caught my attention about the brand is that they seem to do a lot of dupes. So the first thing I noticed was their rainbow highlighter, and the original rainbow highlighter, if you remember this, I think it was about 2 years ago, it like sold out completely from the original person who made it, who was on Etsy. Now a number of different brands have duped this since. I think Wet n Wild has one, a number of different cosmetics company has a rainbow highlighter. So if I just saw a rainbow highlighter, it wouldn't sort of raise the flag for me about this company being something that does a lot of dupes. But the next thing that I noticed was their gloss product. And you cannot tell me that this isn't supposed to be a dupe for Glossier. I mean, not only is it called glossed, which I mean, fine, it's a gloss, but look at the font there. Look at the font as compared to Glossier's font, and you can tell that they are going for a dupe there. They want you to look at that product and think it's like a Glossier product. The next two items that I noticed as being dupes were both from Ciate London, or dupes of products for Ciate London. The first one I noticed because I have the Ciate London product, and that is the dual-ended eyeliner / stamp. I have this one with a star on the end of it, and you know, this is what it looks like. And you will go to Lottie London's site and see eyeliner with a stamp on the end. One of them is a star. They just look so much alike. And then the other one, which was like the most blatant dupe, was Ciate London about a year ago, came out with their Glitter Flip lip product. And that was the one where you put it on, it looked kind of matte, and then you smacked your lips together and the glitter all came out. So Glitter Flip, and Latte London has Glitter Switch. What do? You put it on, you press your lips together, and then you see all the glitter, and even the name is done to be the same. So I'm just doing a little interlude in specifically speaking about Latte London right now to speak a little bit about dupes and fakes and originals. So I have definite feelings about originals, I have definite feelings about fakes, and then I have some feelings contradictory about dupes. So obviously buying a product from a company that came out with a brand new idea, brand new product is cool. You know, they are ahead of the trends. You know, when the Glitter Flip came out, we'd never seen anything like that before. Same with the rainbow highlighter, really cool to come out with these new things. Way on the other end of the spectrum, we have fakes. And those are the things you buy from sites where, you know, you're buying something that looks exactly like a Cover FX product or a MAC product or a Fenty product. And when you actually look at the product side by side with a real one, there's usually some giveaways that it's not the same thing. The writing might be slightly different, the colors are off, and the product is definitely not the same. The problem with fakes is you don't know what is in that product. They try to fake the box. They try to make it look exactly the same, so you're not going to tell the products apart. So they're not putting a real ingredient list on there. They are just faking the ingredient list, copy and pasting it from the original that they're copying. But they don't actually have the formula for the original, and a lot of these faking companies don't care. They are just going to throw whatever they can into the product because, you know, they're making it for like $1. That is where you hear about, and it's true, a lot of really gross things going into that makeup, things that are bad for your skin, you know, chemicals that are bad for your skin. Not only that, but also like, you know, they found them to be contaminated with like feces and arsenic and all that kind of stuff. And of course they don't care what goes into it because they're lying to you about what's in the product anyway. Fakes are just bad. Stay away from them. It doesn't matter if they perform well or not, because you should never be putting stuff on your skin that you don't know what it is. They are terrible. They are bad. Never on this channel will you see me even like testing out fakes against the original, because none of my money is ever going to go to a fake product. Now in the middle, we have companies like Lottie London who, you know, see something come out that people like, and then they make their own version of it. Now, they are making their own version of it, so it has a proper ingredient list. They are telling you everything that is in it. So there's nothing in these that you necessarily need to be worried about. The question becomes more of a moral one. Is it right for companies to be doing this? Is it right for consumers to be buying this? Now, on the one hand, I don't even know how copyright laws and things work for makeup, because like if you look at those gloss products or the color or Glitter Flip versus Glitter Switch, how is that not something that the companies can go and say, you outright copied our product? But obviously there's something that makes it difficult for makeup companies to do that. The second part of the issue is that who are you supporting with your dollars? You have a company like Ciate London or even Glossier who comes up with a product, and there's two things that they are doing that the duper doesn't have to do. First of all, they're spending their money on researching and developing new products. You know, it takes a while to get to formulations that work. It takes a while to see if things will even come together in how they're making it. So they're spending money on that. They're also taking the risk of these products. Like, as we know, there are products that come out and some of them are a hit and some of them nobody cares about. So it could have been that, you know, Glitter Flip came out and everyone was like, I don't like this. This is no good. Who would want this? Nobody wants like glitter lipstick. And then they would have produced all of this and it would have been a flop and it would have been their risk. Dupe companies, however, or companies that make dupes, wait until they see something that's popular. They don't have to spend any money on, well, less money on research development. They have to come up with their own formula for it, but they don't have to take any of the risk. They already know that the market likes it, so they can just put it out there, which is why, you know, you can buy something from a dupe company at like half to a third of the price of what you get it from the original, because they can just make it cheaper. because they don't have to do all the work that the original company did. I've heard two things. On the one hand, there are people who think you shouldn't buy dupes because it's not fair to the original company. You should support those companies. And then you have people that say, I'm on a limited budget, and if I'm not able to buy a dupe, I can't have those products, and I want those products. I think there's a range of dupes, and let me talk about that. On the one hand, there's the ones that I'm okay with, which are kind of following along with trends. So you had the Anastasia Beverly Hills Modern Renaissance palette came out, and everybody just went bonkers about like these warm tones, the burgundies, the oranges, these really warm kind of mattes, and it was just all there. And then you look at something like a Wet n Wild, and they came out with a palette that had a lot of the similar kinds of colors. I'm okay with that. You know, color palettes are, you know, changing, and people like different things, and if you're following along with a trend, that's fine. On the other end, I see things like, I have a dupe for one of the Naked palettes. I think it was maybe Naked 2. It's the more pinky colored one. I received it in a BoxyCharm. The dumb thing about that dupe was that it was like as expensive as the original one, but it's like similar shape of packaging, you know, similar, all the same kind of pans, and then the same colors in the same order. And to me, that is not cool. You know, when you are faking it that closely, you're not using any of your own thought into it, and that's not cool. Same with the glitter flip. I think that's not cool. At least if you were gonna make your own glitter lipstick, you know, make it yourself, call it something where you're not saying, hey, see this? It's an exact dupe of that. Buy this instead because we made it cheaper. That's my feeling on it. I feel wherever possible, to buy from the original company is good. You know, if it's things like color palettes and products, eyeshadows and blush colors and things that are inspired by, you know, products that are big right now, that's okay. But just, I would rather buy less makeup and buy good makeup and buy those original products than buy a whole bunch of dupes, and, you know, 9 times out of 10, the quality is not going to be the same. That is where I'm going to leave it for talking about dupe products. But now I'm going to get into the really weird twist that my research took when I was looking into this. So one of the things I was really trying to find out was, who's the owner of Lottie London? Who's the founder of it? Because nowhere could I find anything about who the person was behind this brand. And I went down a rabbit hole and down a rabbit hole until I got to a point where I was looking at like the original like founding documents, like the filings for registering the company for Lottie London. And the first director, the only director of the company, so I am making the assumption that this person is the founder and owner because it's the only name I've seen connected to the company. Not 100%, but I'm like 90% on that, is Charlotte Knight. Charlotte Knight is also the owner and founder of Ciate London. So did she found her own low-cost version that dupes Ciate London products? It's strange, and I tried to find any articles I could that talked about her being the founder of both, but she is only ever referenced as the founder and owner of Ciate London. And as far as I know, she is still there. That is what she does. But she also founded this company? It's very confusing, but just putting that out there. You know, if they had only been duping Ciate London products, then maybe I'd be like, hey, it's the same founder. They're just making the products in 2 different brands and charging them at different price points. But then you've got the Glossier and those other kind of dupes in there. Let's stop there and let's talk specifically about this blush. So the Blush Crush blush comes in 6 different shades. And if you're buying this in the UK, it's going to cost you £4.95, £4.95 British pounds. So if you were to buy this in America, it would probably be about $7. Here in Canada, maybe like $8 to $9. As I mentioned, there's 6 shades, and each of these is named after a pop culture dude. So this is Zayn, and being somebody who doesn't really know anything about One Direction, it took me a little bit of research to realize that's who this is named after. There's one called Harry, I think after like Harry Styles. There's one called Justin, either after like Justin Timberlake or Justin Bieber. There's one called Drake. There's, I forget the names of the other ones, but they're all kind of, or Zach, I think, which they figure is named after Zac Efron. So it's all kind of like heartthrob boys that would appeal to people who are maybe in their teens to mid-20s. It is a matte blush. It applies fine. I would say that it is sort of in the mid-level of having pigmentation. You definitely want to make sure you don't have too much on your brush, but it's not like some of the others that I've tried, such as the Pretty Vulgar blush, where it's almost like you can't get enough of it off of your brush to put it on with a slight gentle hand. Something that I learned, which is a tip from Wayne Goss, if you want to make your cheeks tie in a little bit better with your eye look, you can use a little bit of the blush that you're using through your crease. It just makes it all look a little bit more harmonious as a look. It lasts well throughout the day. It does what it's supposed to do. It's a blush. I will say, as far as the color goes, being fairly rose kind of pink, I do find these very pink undertone blushes to be a little bit harder to match to eye looks. You do have to be a little careful if you're going something that's a little more brown or more orange or rusty colors, because the pink is going to clash with it a little bit. And also, you know, doing more reds or orange tones on the lips, the pink is going to throw it off. I find this tone of pink to be good either when you're using a bronzer, so that is just adding a touch of pink to something where there's already some you know, maybe orange or brown bronzer going on your cheeks, or something that's good for a very fresh look where maybe you are just using some eyeliner and some gloss and then popping some pink on your cheeks. For me, at least, something like this Pixie blush, and I'll just open this up, is easier to work into looks. It has a very brown undertone, at least for me that's what works, because I don't tend to use a lot of bronzer. Something like this works nicely for me because it matches well to sort of like rusty or orange or red looks, which is what I tend to do a little bit more. And because it's got that brown undertone, it adds a little bit of the bronzing with still adding the pinkiness that you want from a blush. So that is my review and my long-winded discussion about dupes and fakes and originals. I would love to hear from you. And first of all, let me know if you've bought anything from Lottie London before, what you think of their company and their products. I would love to know that. But I would also love to know your thoughts on dupes. Do you buy them? Do you have a problem with them? Do you think they're just a good way for somebody to spend less money and be smarter with their dollars? Please leave all of that in the comments down below. I do respond to every comment that I get, or at least make my best attempt to. If you've not yet subscribed to my channel and you like these kind of reviews, first of all, give this a thumbs up, but then also subscribe. And that is it for me. I will see you in my next video. Bye.